The man who should have looked away. Rax Calder was not a hero. He did not wear armor. He did not carry a weapon. He fixed broken machines in a forgotten scrapyard station at the edge of known space. People like him survived by keeping their heads down and their mouths shut. Looking away was how you stayed alive. The station was old, cold, and always shaking. Metal walls groaned like tired beasts. Lights flickered more than they worked. Ships came here only when they had nowhere else to go. Rax liked it that way. No questions. No trouble. That night started like any other. Rax wiped grease from his hands and shut down the fusion welder. The station's artificial night cycle had begun. Most workers were gone. Only the hum of distant engines and the soft echo of air vents filled the halls. Then he heard it, a sound that didn't belong. It was faint, almost lost under the noise of the station. A soft scrape, then a weak, broken chirp. Rax froze. In the outer rim, strange sounds usually meant danger. Parasites, smugglers, or worse. He should have walked away. Instead, he followed the sound. It came from an abandoned cargo bay, sealed years ago after a hull breach. The door panel flickered when he touched it. With a hiss of escaping air, the door slid open just enough for him to slip inside. The bay was dark. Rax turned on his wrist light and stopped breathing. Curled against the far wall were two small shapes. Scales dull and cracked. Wings torn and folded tight. Their eyes, large, glowing faintly, locked onto him at once. Dragons. Not the storybook kind. Not myths. Real ones. Imperial dragons. The most feared species in the galaxy. Rax's heart slammed in his chest. His first clear thought was simple and sharp. I'm dead. The Empire did not allow dragons outside royal control. Harboring one was treason. Harboring two? That wasn't even a crime. That was a public execution. When the hatchlings hissed weakly, trying to raise its head. A small flame flickered at its mouth, then died. They were starving. Rax stepped back. Every survival instinct screamed at him to run, to seal the door, to report it anonymously and forget this ever happened. The smaller dragon made a sound again. Not a roar, not a threat, a cry. Rax saw the way its body shook, the way its claws scraped uselessly against the floor, the way its wings protected the other without thinking. They were not monsters. They were children. Rax swallowed hard. Slowly, carefully, he unclipped his ration pack from his belt. Dry protein strips. Not made for dragons. Probably useless. He slid it across the floor and stepped back. The dragons didn't move at first. Minutes passed. Then the larger one crawled forward, sniffing. It took a small bite, then another. Its eyes widened. It pushed the food toward the smaller one. Rax felt something twist in his chest. You're refugees, he whispered before he could stop himself. The word felt dangerous even in the empty bay. He stayed with them longer than he meant to. Long enough to realize how bad their injuries were. Burn marks from plasma weapons. Cracks in their scales. One wing bent wrong. Imperial weapons. Someone had tried to kill them. A sudden alarm chirped from Rax's wrist console. Proximity alert. Security patrol approaching. Rax's blood went cold. The dragons sensed it too. They pressed back against the wall, eyes wide, bodies tense. A low rumble came from deep in their chests. Not anger, but fear. Rax didn't think. He acted. Hey, he whispered, holding his hands up. Quiet. I've got you. He popped open a maintenance panel and pulled aside a loose section of wall plating. Behind it was a narrow service crawl space, used for wiring and coolant lines. Go, he said softly, pointing. The dragons hesitated. Boots echoed outside the bay. Rax gently pushed the ration pack into the crawl space. Please. The larger dragon moved first, squeezing into the dark space. The smaller followed, looking back at Rax one last time. Then the wall slid back into place. The cargo bay door slammed open. Two station guards stepped inside, weapons ready. Rax stood alone, hands dirty, heart racing. You hear something? One guard asked. Probably rats, the other said. This place is falling apart. They scanned the bay, bore, then left. The door closed. Silence returned. Rax leaned against the wall, shaking. He realized something then, something terrifying. He had crossed a line, and there was no going back. From the darkness of the crawl space, two small, glowing eyes watched him. Not with fear, with trust. Fire that learned to hide. Rax Calder did not sleep that night. He sat on the cold floor of his workshop, back against a tool locker, listening to the station breathe. Pipes hissed. Metal clicked as it cooled. Every sound felt louder than it should be. Above him, hidden behind layers of wall plating and wiring ducts, two refugee dragons were trying not to exist. That alone could get them all killed. Rax checked the security feed again. No alerts. No patrols nearby. Still, his hands shook as he stood and opened the crawlspace panel just enough to whisper, "It's clear. For now." Two small heads appeared from the darkness. The larger hatchling crawled out first. Its scales were a deep ash gray, cracked in places like broken stone. One wing dragged slightly, not fully healed. The smaller one followed close behind, its color a dim ember red, eyes brighter but body weaker. They moved quietly, too quietly for creatures born of fire. Rax noticed that right away. "You already know how to hide," he muttered. The dragons did not understand his words, but they understood his tone. They stayed close, tails curled inward, wings tight. Survival posture. Rax locked the workshop door and sealed the sound dampeners. Then he did something he had never planned to do in his life. He made room. He cleared a corner behind the engine mounts. He laid down thermal insulation sheets to keep them warm. He redirected excess heat from the reactor exhaust so it flowed gently into their space. The dragons relaxed the moment the warmth touched them. The smaller one let out a soft sound, almost a purr. Rax exhaled slowly. Okay, that's new. Hours passed. Rax learned quickly. Dragons burned through food faster than anything he had ever seen. Protein packs were not enough. He traded spare parts for nutrient gel. Melted scrap metal into ingestible mineral slurries. Risky, illegal, but quieter than buying in bulk. He named them without thinking. The ash gray one became ash. The red one became ember. Names made things real. Dangerous, stupid real. Days turned into weeks. The dragons healed faster than any medtech could explain. Scales smoothed. Wings strengthened. Fire returned, but weak, flickering, and always controlled. Too controlled. Rax saw it one night when a coolant line burst. Steam filled the workshop. Alarm screamed. Rax rushed to shut the valve, slipped, and slammed into a bulkhead. Pain exploded through his side. Ash reacted instantly. Fire flared. Not wild. Not explosive. A perfect arc of heat sealed the cracked pipe in seconds. The alarm stopped. Silence fell. Rax stared. Ash stood frozen, eyes wide, flame dying on his tongue. Ember hid behind him, shaking. They expected punishment. Rax laughed, a short, breathless sound. "You just saved my life." The dragons did not relax. That worried him more than anything. They had learned fear too well. The galaxy did not forget them, even if Rax tried to. Rumors crept through the station. Whispers of missing royal hatchlings, of imperial cleansing fleets, of entire outposts burned for less. One night, the station went quiet in a way that meant trouble. No music, no chatter, no engines docking, just silence. Then a broadcast cut through every channel. Imperial Authority notice. Refugee dragon sightings confirmed in this sector. Civilian cooperation is mandatory. Rax felt the blood drain from his face. Ash lifted his head, eyes glowing brighter. Ember whimpered. Rax shut off the screen. "They're not taking you," he said. He didn't know how. He only knew it had to be true. He began moving them every cycle. Different vents, different bays. Always before patrol shifts changed. Always one mistake away from disaster. Then came the offer. A man cornered Rax in a supply corridor. Clean clothes. Too clean. No station badge. "I hear you're good with machines," the man said. "And with secrets." Rax kept walking. "You heard wrong." The man smiled. "Two dragons. Young. Royal blood." Rax stopped. The man leaned closer. "Turn them over. Walk away rich. No one needs to know." Rax saw it then. Not greed, not hunger. Fear. The man was afraid of what would happen if the Empire found the dragons first. Rax's answer was simple. No. That night, the workshop exploded. Not fire, concussion charges. Clean. Professional. Rax was thrown across the room. Alarms howled. Smoke filled the air. Ash roared. For the first time, it was not small. Flames erupted, not at random, but at threats. Smugglers screamed as fire cut off exits without killing. Ember followed, weaker but precise, driving attackers back. Rax crawled to cover, watching in shock. They were not just surviving. They were choosing how to fight. The smugglers fled. Silence returned, broken only by the crackle of cooling metal. Rax looked at the dragons, standing between him and the broken door. They did not run. They stayed. Far above the station, an Imperial signal locked onto the sector. And somewhere in the heart of the Empire, an Empress was being told that 2 missing hatchlings were no longer running. They were protected. The price of shelter. The scrapyard station did not forgive mistakes. After the explosion, everything changed. Rax Calder felt it in the way people stopped meeting his eyes, in the way conversations ended when he walked past. Fear spread faster than fire, and someone had already decided who to blame. The Empire was hunting. Ash and Ember sensed it before any alarm sounded. Dragons always did. They stayed close to Rax now, never sleeping at the same time, taking turns watching the shadows. Rax began to understand something terrifying. They were protecting him. Every cycle, Imperial broadcasts grew more violent. Harboring royal assets is treason. Entire stations will be purged. The words echoed through metal halls like death sentences. Rax knew the truth the others did not want to say. If the Empire searched this station fully, everyone here would die. And that meant the dragons could not stay. He started preparing an escape. Old navigation charts. Half-working jump cores. A cargo shuttle no one would miss. He worked only during power dips, wiping logs, rerouting heat signatures, turning his workshop into a ghost. Ash watched everything. One night, the dragon touched Rax's injured side with the tip of his snout. A low warmth spread through the cracked bone. Pain faded. Rax whispered, "You shouldn't know how to do that." Ash only looked at him. The station's crime boss came next. Her name was Vela Kryn. Everyone paid her, even if they pretended not to. She arrived with guards, confidence, and a smile that never reached her eyes. "You've caused trouble," she said calmly, looking around the damaged workshop. Rax didn't answer. Vela continued. "The Empire has offered immunity. Rewards. Protection." She leaned closer. "All they want is what you're hiding." The air grew warmer. Ember growled softly from the shadows. Vela noticed. Her eyes flicked toward the sound, then back to Rax. "Think carefully," she said. "You're a mechanic, not a martyr." Rax met her gaze. "Get out." The smile vanished. That same night, the station's power failed. Complete blackout. No alarms. No broadcasts. Just darkness. Rax knew instantly this was no accident. He barely had time to shout before armed figures poured into the workshop from all sides. Not smugglers this time. Professionals. Empire-trained hunters. Ash roared. The sound shook the station. Fire filled the room. Not wild, not cruel, but controlled. Doors melted shut. Ceilings collapsed only where enemies stood. Ember flanked. Her flames weaker but faster. Her movements sharp and intelligent. Rax grabbed a fallen weapon but never fired it. He didn't need to. The hunters retreated, dragging their wounded. But victory came at a cost. Ash collapsed. A deep wound burned across his chest, glowing sickly blue. Anti-dragon tech. Rax dropped beside him, hands shaking. "Stay with me, please." Ember pressed against Ash, crying out in a sound that cracked metal. Rax made a choice then. He activated the shuttle. They would leave. Tonight. Or not at all. As the station came back online, Imperial warships entered the system. Above the scrapyard, sensors locked onto a single, fleeing shuttle. Inside, Rax held on as space tore open around them. Behind them, the Empire marked his name, not as a criminal, but as something far worse. A human who had chosen dragons over fear. And in the Imperial capital, the Empress received confirmation. The hatchlings were alive, and so was the man who raised them. 5 years of fire and silence. Space did not forgive weakness. The shuttle drifted through dead sectors, running dark, its hull patched with scrap and hope. Rax Calder kept it alive the same way he kept everything alive, by fixing what should not have worked anymore. 5 years passed. Not quickly. Not easily. The galaxy changed, but Rax changed more. He learned how to hide heat signatures, how to erase trails, how to land on rocks no map cared to name. He became a ghost moving between broken stars. And the dragons grew. Ash was massive now. His scales had deepened into dark steel gray, lined with faint blue light where Imperial weapons had once burned him. His wings could block out stars. Ember was smaller but faster, her red scales brighter, her flames sharp and precise like blades. They did not burn cities. They hunted asteroids, melted ice for water, protected Rax without ever being told to. They listened. That was what made them dangerous. Rax built their home inside a hollowed moon, using old mining tunnels and stolen tech. No signals, no broadcasts, no visitors. Peace as much as the universe allowed. But silence never lasted. One night, while Rax repaired a power relay, Ash lifted his head and froze. His eyes glowed brighter than usual. Something had changed. Far away, in Imperial space, a border outpost vanished in a single night. No survivors, no fires, just melted weapons and sealed blast doors. The Empire blamed rebels. Then it happened again, and again. Whispers spread. Dragons are moving, not attacking civilians, protecting humans. Rax heard the rumors through stolen channels and shut them off. He knew who they were talking about. Ash stood at the entrance of the moon cave, staring into space. Ember perched above, wings folded tight. "You can't," Rax said quietly. "If they see you." Ash turned his head. His voice was still rough, still young, but it existed now. Human hurt. Rax froze. It was the first word Ash had ever spoken. Elsewhere, an Imperial convoy burned, not from rage, but warning. Ships disabled, crews left alive. A message carved into metal with fire. Leave them. The Empire listened. For a while. Then the Empress spoke. Her order was simple. Find the human. Not the dragons. The human. Imperial strategy shifted overnight. Patrols stopped chasing dragon sightings. Instead, they hunted mechanics, traders, refugees, anyone who matched old records. Rax felt the net tightening. Ember landed beside him one night, pressing her head against his chest. Her warmth was steady. Protective. "You should go," Rax said. "Without me." She shook her head. Ash lowered his massive form until his eyes were level with Rax's. "Home," Ash said. "You." The moon trembled. Imperial jump signatures flared across the system. Rax smiled sadly. "Then we stand together." Far across the stars, golden armor was prepared. The Empress's guard had found him, and they were coming not for war, but for judgment. The day the sky went silent. The warning did not come as an alarm. It came as silence. Rax Calder noticed it while tightening a bolt on the outer tunnel door. The steady hum of the moon's reactors dropped to nothing. No vibration. No background noise. Space itself felt like it was holding its breath. Ash felt it too. The massive dragon rose slowly, wings half spread, eyes glowing with a sharp blue light. Ember slid down from her perch and pressed close to Rax's side, scales warm but tense. "They're here," Rax said quietly. The stars outside the moon shifted. Then they vanished. A shadow spread across the system. Huge, unnatural, blocking starlight like a moving wall. Imperial warships emerged from hyperspace one by one, perfectly aligned, their hulls glowing gold and white. No warning shots. No broadcast. No demands. That was worse. Rax's old instinct screamed at him to run. Hide. Fix something. Do anything that felt useful. Instead, he stood still. Ash let out a low growl that shook the tunnels. Ember's flames flickered between her teeth, fast and sharp. "No," Rax said, placing a hand against Ash's scales. "Not yet." A single ship broke formation and descended toward the moon. Smaller than a battleship, but heavier than anything built for peace. Its engines did not roar. They whispered. The landing did not crack the ground. That scared Rax more than explosions ever had. The ship's ramp lowered. They came out walking. Not soldiers. Not hunters. The Empress's guard. Their armor was smooth and golden, etched with symbols older than the Empire itself. No visible weapons. No helmets. Their faces were calm, almost respectful. There were 6 of them. They stopped at the edge of the cave. The leader stepped forward. "Rax Calder," he said, voice clear, amplified without shouting. "By order of Her Radiance, the Empress, you are requested to come with us." Requested. Rax laughed once, short and tired. "You bring half a fleet for a request." The guard inclined his head slightly. "For your protection." Ash moved then. He stepped fully into the open, wings spreading wide, blocking the cave mouth. His shadow swallowed the guards. Ember joined him, fire rolling along her spine like liquid light. The guards did not move. They did not raise weapons. The leader looked up at Ash. "Prince Ash of the Imperial Clutch. Princess Ember of the Fire Line. You are larger than expected." Ash's voice rumbled out, deep and steady now. "You will not take him." The guard stiffened, not in fear but in shock. The leader recovered quickly. "This is not an arrest. The Empress wishes to see the human who taught dragons restraint." Rax blinked. "She what?" A different guard spoke, her voice softer. "You changed them." Ember stepped forward, placing herself between Rax and the guards. "He saved us." The word "saved" echoed through the cave. For the first time, something like uncertainty passed through the guards' expressions. The leader nodded once. "Which is why he must come willingly." Rax felt Ash's gaze on him. Ember's wing brushed his arm, careful, gentle. If he went, he might never return. If he stayed, the Empire would not stop coming. Rax took a slow breath. "If I come, you leave them alone." The leader did not answer right away. Then he said, "The Empress has already ordered it." Ash growled. "Lies." The guard met Ash's eyes. "She fears what you could become, but she fears more what you already are." Silence fell again. Rax looked up at the dragons he had raised from broken, starving hatchlings. Creatures of fire who had learned mercy before war. He smiled, sad but proud. "I'll go." Ember made a sharp sound of protest. Ash lowered his head until his massive forehead touched Rax's chest. "No," Ash said. Together. The leader hesitated. Then the entire fleet shifted position. Weapons powered down. "All of you," the guard said quietly. The Empress did not ask for judgment. She asked for truth. The ramp of the ship remained open. Rax stepped forward. Ash and Ember followed. Above them, the sky stayed dark. And across the Empire, one truth spread faster than fear. The dragons were not returning as weapons. They were returning with their human. The court that expected fire. The imperial capital did not look like a place that could fear anything. Golden towers rose like frozen flames. Orbital rings glowed with steady light. Warships floated in perfect order, silent and obedient. The Empire was built to look eternal. Rax Calder stood at its center, feeling very small. The transport ship landed inside the Grand Spire, a structure so massive it swallowed sound. As the ramp lowered, Rax stepped out first. He was still wearing his work jacket, stained with oil and burn marks. No chains, no guards holding him. That felt wrong. Behind him, Ash and Ember followed. The entire hangar froze. Technicians backed away. Officers stopped breathing. Even veteran soldiers could not hide their fear as 2 full-grown dragons entered the heart of the Empire. Ash walked with slow control, wings folded tight. Ember stayed close to Rax, her tail brushing his leg like a promise. No one attacked. They were escorted upward through halls of crystal and light, past murals of dragons destroying worlds. Always led by emperors, always controlled. Rax noticed something then. None of the dragons in the art stood beside humans. The doors to the high court opened. Silence poured out. The court was enormous, shaped like a circular arena. Thousands of nobles, commanders, and scholars filled the tiers. At the highest point sat the Empress, wrapped in white and gold, her crown floating above her head like a halo of fire. Her eyes locked on Ash and Ember, then on Rax. "You may speak," she said. Her voice carried without effort. Rax swallowed. "I don't know why I'm here." A ripple of murmurs spread through the court. The Empress raised one finger. Silence returned. "You are here," she said, Because you committed treason and something far more dangerous. Rax met her gaze. I fed 2 starving children. Gasps echoed. Ash took 1 step forward. The guards tensed, but the Empress did not move. They were hunted, Ash said. His voice shook the air, but it did not threaten. We were small. We were dying. The court erupted. Dragons do not speak in court. This is forbidden. They manipulate him. Ember lifted her head. We learned words from him. The Empress's eyes narrowed. You taught them language? Rax nodded. I talked to them. Every day. I didn't think it mattered. The Empress leaned forward. It matters, she said quietly. She rose from her throne and descended the steps alone. No guards followed her. She stopped a short distance from Rax. Did you know what they were? She asked. Yes. Did you know the punishment? Yes. Why did you do it? Rax did not answer right away. He thought the first night. The crying. The empty eyes. They were hungry, he said, and afraid. And no one else helped. The Empress looked at Ash's scars. At Ember's controlled flames. They should have become weapons, she said. Instead, they became this. Her voice hardened. You have weakened them. Ash growled. Ember flared. Rax stepped forward without thinking, standing between them and the throne. They're stronger than anything you made, he said, because they can choose. The court went silent. The Empress studied him for a long time. Then she turned to the nobles. For centuries, she said, we ruled through fear. We taught dragons to burn on command, and humans to kneel. She faced Ash and Ember again. You disobeyed me. Ash lowered his head slightly. We protected our father. The word hit the court like a weapon. Father. The Empress closed her eyes. When she opened them, they burned, not with rage, but with something older. Understanding. She raised her hand. I came here prepared to order an execution, she said, or a coronation of monsters. Her hand lowered. Instead, I see a failure of my empire. She looked at Rax. You will not be punished. Shouts exploded through the court. She silenced them with a glance. You will remain free, she continued, because you have done what my armies could not. Rax's voice shook, and the Empress turned to the dragons. They will choose their own path. Ash spread his wings slightly. Ember smiled, a small, sharp dragon smile. But the Empress was not finished. She stepped back to her throne and sat. There will be consequences, she said. The court doors slammed shut. Because if dragons can learn mercy from a human, then the Empire must change. And change, the Empire feared more than fire. The Empire that learned mercy. The High Court did not erupt in anger. It froze. Nobles who had commanded fleets sat silent. Generals who had burned worlds stared at the floor. Scholars who believed they understood dragons could not find words. Rax Calder stood in the center of it all, heart pounding, wondering when a moment would break and everything would turn violent. It did not. The Empress remained seated, her face calm, her eyes sharp. She lifted her hand, and the great banners of the court slowly dimmed. The golden light softened. The room felt smaller, more human. Remove the battle formations, she ordered. Across the capital, warships powered down. Weapon arrays folded inward. For the first time in Imperial history, the sky above the throne world was quiet. Ash sensed it instantly. He relaxed. That alone terrified the court. The Empress rose once more. 4 generations, she said, we believed strength came from control. Dragons were shaped into fire. Humans into tools. Fear was efficient. She looked directly at Rax. And yet, a single mechanic broke that system without a weapon. Rax swallowed. I didn't break anything. You did, she replied. You broke inevitability. She turned to the dragons. Ash, Ember, you were born to command legions, to end wars with flame. Ash's voice was steady. We were born. Then we were hunted. Ember stepped forward, standing beside Rax instead of behind him. He did not command us. He stayed. The Empress closed her eyes briefly. When she opened them, the crown above her head shifted shape, less sharp, less imposing. Then hear my judgment. Every being in the court leaned forward. Rax Calder, the Empress said, you will not kneel. You will not serve. You will not be rewarded with land or titles. Murmurs rose, confusion, disbelief. You will be given something rarer, she continued. Authority without chains. She gestured to the massive display behind the throne. The image shifted, showing border systems, refugee routes, shattered worlds. The Empire will no longer use dragons as weapons of conquest, she said. They will become guardians, protectors, and they will learn from the one who taught them restraint. Gasps echoed. Ash's wings slowly unfolded, not in threat, but in awe. Rax whispered, "You're asking me to—" "I'm asking you to help us become better than we were," the Empress said. "Or watch us fall apart trying." Silence returned. Rax looked up at Ash and Ember, at the creatures who could burn cities, yet chose to shield a single human instead. He nodded. "Then we start with food, shelter, and no hunting children." A few nobles flinched. The Empress smiled. "Just barely." Agreed. News spread faster than light. Across the galaxy, outposts lowered weapons when dragons passed overhead. Refugee ships found escorts made of fire and scale. Imperial soldiers learned a new rule. Dragons do not burn unless they choose to. And they chose carefully. Years later, children on distant worlds would tell stories, not of monsters, but of two dragons who stood between civilians and war. They would speak of Ash, who blocked orbital strikes with his wings, of Ember, whose fire sealed hospitals instead of destroying them. And always, they would mention the human, the mechanic who fixed broken things. Rax Calder never took a throne, never wore armor. He worked beside engineers, medics, and diplomats, translating between fire and flesh. When asked why dragons listened to him, he always gave the same answer. "I didn't teach them how to be strong," he said. "I treated them like they already were." From the highest tower of the capital, the Empress watched a new age take shape, one born not from fear, but from choice. And for the first time in centuries, the Empire slept without dreaming of fire.